Do you trust Mike 1,000%? Because I remember back in October when you received those DMs from people that, had no followers, there was nothing to it. And you said, maybe I still can't trust him 1,000%. Like there's always that doubt there. Now that you guys have been through this past year together, can you trust him 1,000%?
I trust him more. I mean, I don't think, what I say, and we said this in the book too, like I trust him today. I do. I trust him today. He's showing up today. He's showing up as a father. He's showing up as a husband, and he's living it with integrity. And I have to do my work to continue to trust him the next day after that. And to continue to see his growth and our growth together. But I do trust my husband. Yeah. Can you put 1,000%? I don't know if I can say that. I trust my husband today.
Obviously your marriage has been tested before, but did this time test your marriage in a different way at all? Or did you almost feel like this was the best thing that ever happened to your marriage because you were able to spend so much time together?
I think it was the best test, if that makes sense. Like it was, because we had all the tools. We're now shoved in. It's almost like a big brother, for like a married, we're all in Big Brother. And so I feel like it was I truly do feel stronger, because of it, because we had the time together. Sure, there were times when we're just like, I don't even want to look at you today. Like, can you even sleep in the other room? Like, I'm just like, I'm done with you, like in that day. But but I just, I feel grateful. I mean, obviously our book came out, in 2020. And, I think that was honestly the hardest week of quarantine we had was probably when the book came out, just because rehashing those things is never really easy to talk about. So I think we fought the most leading up to the book launch and then during book launch.
Yeah, just because you have to, like you said, you kind of have to talk about these things all over again that were probably buried for a little bit.
Yeah, there were certain things in the book that I was just like, it was tough. And I'm like, and then you get, afterwards, you just start to have these feelings. But, I was able to still talk to my therapist and my friends and remember that that's old stuff and that's not what's happening now. But it is like sometimes, because we are so far removed from it, 5-something years, it's kind of that reminder that I'm like, oh yeah, wait a minute, that was us. But I try to think positive and know like, okay, we are in such a better place. We're stronger because of it. And it's, I like that reality, but it can be hard to think about it.
Yeah. What was the hardest part for you guys to write in this book? Obviously there's so many different layers to the relationship and what happened, but like, what was the hardest part for you that you were like, oh, maybe I don't want to put this to the public?
There was a few. I would say the freshest one was what happened last year. Last year was when he had a secret Twitter and not really knowing what actually was said, or because he says he just had it because he wanted to feel more connected and follow sports players, but because of our history, that's really hard to believe.
Yeah.
So I think that one still, because it's fresh, that one just feels icky, know. But so that was a hard one to kind of re-talk about, but he just celebrated his year sobriety from that incident, and it's been 5 years since physical, which is great. That's a great number, and hopefully he continues to stay sober in his program. But I think that one was tough, and then obviously finding out I was pregnant with Jace in that moment, because it wasn't like oh, here's my pregnancy stick and I'm so excited. It was like, oh, what do I do? Like, do I what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Like, do I just stay a single mom and divorce him, or do I try to make it work for the baby? Like, it was just, that time was tough to even talk about.
Yeah. Have you guys discussed on how you're going to tell Jason, Jolie, and if you're going to, have them read the book later down the line, because they might be interested in doing so?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it. When Jolie gets to the age where she can Google,
yeah.
I don't know what age that's going to be,
right.
But we're gonna sit her down, and I have someone that I know, her dad cheated on her mom, and they're still married. So she kind of told me how they did it, how they sat her down, and I liked it. It was just like, hey, this is what daddy did, and but daddy loves mommy so much. So just having like that really, and like she has any questions, but I mean, obviously I want us to tell her before a friend tells her.
Of course, yeah. No, definitely. I mean, you did say that Mike celebrated 1 year sober. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, what kind of growth has he made this year?
Oh my goodness. So much, because not only has he stayed sober this year, he's also, his reactions. And I think it's kind of crazy because our therapist laughs at us and he's like, now you're just fighting about normal stuff. Now you're just fighting about normal married things. And I'm like, yes, like we made it. Like we're just fighting over like who's doing the dishes and like, you know, or I get annoyed when you say this. So, but I think for Mike, like what he's done the best this year is his reactions. And I think that's just a guy, like guys can have a very large reaction, whether it's defensiveness, and I know women can too, but that was always kind of the thing that he's needed to work on, and now he takes a second before he responds, and I can see the change in him too. And same for me, like I used to just go straight to just being straight to triggered and straight to being mean, and now I'm like, okay, trying to stay more present and then expressing a feeling rather than attacking first. So I think just yeah, but for him, like he's definitely, I'm glad I stayed to see the version I knew that was always there.